Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Dylan here. We have a major bombshell today from Vivek Ramaswamy that you do not want to miss. He just came out and dropped a huge bombshell today, revealing the truth about the elite Democrats and everything going on right now, right? Vivek Ramaswamy, he's running for governor in Ohio. He's no longer with Doge and Elon, but I think he's still doing some incredible work. He's actually teaming up with President Trump right now to do something very special, which we will be diving into today. Now, before we jump in and bring on Vivek Ramaswamy, we're going to read the Bible. We're going to pray because God comes first. Amen? So comment amen down below. Today's Bible reading is from the first book of Corinthians, chapter 10. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Amen. So comment amen down below. And now let's jump onto the video, guys. All right, guys, so Vivek just came out and said that Trump is bringing back national confidence. This is epic. Let's tune in, my friends.
Ohio's next governor, Vivek Ramaswamy, joins me now. It's good to see a little competition. We didn't see that during the Biden years, Vivek. When you have all of these really powerful cabinet officials just kind of outdoing each other by doing great things for the country, it's inspiring. Do you think it kind of creates any animosity?
I don't think so. I think competition breeds innovation, Jesse. Whether it's within the people leading our federal government or whether it's between the states that comprise the 50 states of our union. That's what our founding fathers actually envisioned. If you go back to history, many of them were competitive with each other as well. You look at Thomas Jefferson versus John Adams or Alexander Hamilton. There were friendly rivalries back then too, but it lifted the whole country up. And if you just look at what were those ideals that set the country into motion, you were talking about them right now. The rule of law, that we're actually a nation of laws, that we believe in meritocracy. The best person gets the job regardless of their skin color or their sexuality. That's actually what binds us together, which is far more important than the superficial diversity that the other side likes to obsess over. So we're the party, we're the movement, we're the nation founded on competition, founded on the rule of law, founded on meritocracy, founded on excellence. That's who we are. That's what Donald Trump is bringing back. And frankly, it's what we want to bring back in all of the 50 states of our country as well.
You're so right about that. I mean, these founders, not all of them loved each other. Let's put it that way. In the 50 states, they're all competing as laboratories of democracy to try to get people to move there. And for the record, they're moving to red states right now. That's for sure. When you see Trump saying we're getting Greenland, whether anybody likes it or not, how does that make you feel?
Look, I think Donald Trump has a masterful art of the deal. He's bringing American exceptionalism back, right?
Yep.
Our sense of self-confidence in our nation. That's what we've been missing for the last several years, Jesse. We could talk about the economy. We could talk about the border, all important issues. But the number one thing we've been missing is our sense of our national character.
Yeah.
You think about America. I actually spoke at an event here in Ohio earlier tonight. Somebody gave me a book of Thomas Jefferson. He was the guy who signed the Lewis and Clark expeditions, right? He was the guy who just said, go west, the Louisiana Purchase, west, 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 manifest destiny for the United States of America. And the truth of the matter is, well, we have a beautiful country that's consistently expanded over the course of our history. The thing that really makes us great is the ideals that powered that expansion and that movement as well. So it's that spirit that President Trump is bringing back. So whether or not a piece of land becomes part of the United States of America or not, that's smaller compared to the question of whether we bring back that national self-confidence. That's where he's delivering for America. Frankly, I want to bring that self-confidence back in our home state of Ohio. And bottom up, top down and bottom up, that's how we're going to bring back our national character. It's what we're missing under Biden. But you know what? We don't even have to talk about Biden anymore.
Yep.
We're going to talk about our future, our self-confidence, our character, our national identity.
It's full steam ahead, my friends. And I really like how Vivek Ramaswamy, he's teaming up with Trump to bring the Trump agenda to the, to the different states. And he's kind of setting a precedent to other, MAGA Republicans. Hey, run for governor. Let's bring this to the states so that there's no pushback like what we're seeing with Hochul or Gavin Newsom or Tim Walz.
That's what we're missing. That's what we're bringing back. And I'm here for it, yes.
One thing that he's really planning to do is starting PE, physical education, in kindergarten. Bring back the presidential fitness test. Get cell phones out of the class. Healthier food in the cafeterias. None of this controversial, or at least it shouldn't be. Let's tune in.
We're going to be able to make sure we bring PE back to kindergarten, starting at a young age. We'll bring back the presidential fitness test in high school. All right, that includes the pull-ups. That's okay. And it's not just the physical health, it's mental health, too.
Yep.
Get the cell phones out of the classroom. It's not doing any good for our kids. Time to put an end to it. I left mine in the car today. I didn't even want it to distract me. Even when I'm here at these dinners, I love talking to you lovely people, and then you'll get some phone call, some text message buzzes. You're half distracted and paying attention in the conversations I'm having with all of you. Turns out a kid gets 60 notifications, 60 notifications per week on their phone while they're in the classroom. All right, it's a source of distraction. And we need to make it easier for our kids to actually succeed. I think part of what we need to do in this mental health epidemic is fill that deeper void with the real thing. I said it earlier, we're in the middle of this identity crisis. Young people are hungry to be part of something bigger, hungry for purpose and meaning and identity.
I actually think that's why Trump won, because if you take a look at the data and the statistics, a lot of young people, more young people than ever before, showed up to vote for Trump. And it's crazy because for once, young people were like, hey, we need to change our future, right? If Kamala Harris and Tim freaking Walz gets elected, our future's toast. And so you have young people getting inspired by Trump, and Barron Trump helped pushing his father to do all those podcasts, do all those interviews to reach young people. I think it really, really paid off. You know, Vivek Ramaswamy, he gave an incredible speech about how we need to really bring back America, patriotism.
Last year, I became the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you something about my generation. We are lost. We are hungry to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Yet we can't even answer what it means to be an American today. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis. Faith in God, patriotism, hard work, family. These things have disappeared only to be replaced by wokeism and transgenderism, climatism, COVIDism, depression, anxiety, fentanyl, suicide. These are symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. And right now, we need to step up and fill that void with our own vision. Answer, what does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in that the best person gets the job regardless of their skin color. That you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions.
Yes!
That's why we're done with the woke DEI agenda.
Yes! Yes! Boom, shakalaka. Wow, I love Vivek, guys. He's got me fired up. I feel like I'm chugging Mountain Dew, but it's 9 in the morning. Vivek Ramaswamy, guys. He just went on the Lord Ingram angle. I mean, this guy's, he's ready to go. He's ready to rock and roll. Let's tune in.
Joining me now, Vivek Ramaswamy, Ohio gubernatorial candidate, former presidential candidate. Vivek, this is amazing. I mean, they're confronted with Trump's popularity, and they're just left into this like the frenetic ball of excitement over there at CNN.
Yeah. Look, the fact of the matter is if you take any voter group for granted for that long, they start to defect. You saw the same thing this last cycle, Laura, from black voters, from Hispanic voters, from young voters, people who the Democratic Party thought they had in the bag. They started taking those populations for granted. And I think President Trump did a great job of building a diverse big tent coalition. I think it was a beautiful thing that he did. He reshaped American politics. Now the next step for us, Laura, is to make sure that our side doesn't make the same mistake the other side did by actually attending to the needs of each of the people who were part of our coalition. I think we're on track to do that. That's where our focus needs to be. And if we succeed in that, then I think that 2026 is going to be yet another good year for Republicans.
Well,
I hope. We gotta win, guys, in 2026. Let's freaking go. Come on. One way you can help support the channel for free is if you do have a Facebook account. If any of you guys here still has a Facebook account, you don't hate Mark Zuckerberg enough to delete it yet, I have a Facebook page linked below. Please go down there and click the follow button so we can help spread this business, help spread this news, the good truth to more people. I'll have it linked below.
The president today signs an executive order, Vivek, mandating proof of citizenship in federal elections. I think most people watching this, like, of course we should do that. Like, why is that controversial? But you know...
Yeah, you need an ID to drink. You need an ID to drive. You need an ID to buy cigarettes, to buy lotto tickets. Why wouldn't you need one in this case?
Is going to get sued, and that a district court judge will try to enjoin him, and it'll probably be, you know, a temporary thing that gets appealed, but that it's going to be extended and extended. Your reaction to this? I think it's a terrific executive order.
I think it's a great executive order. It makes all the sense in the world. It is him delivering on the mandate for common sense, which is that only citizens should vote in U.S. elections. That's intuitive. Any other country around the world shouldn't find that controversial either.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, Laura, I actually see an opportunity where you cite that challenge. You're right about that. Is some court somewhere going to get in the way of pretty much nearly every one of these executive orders? Yes. But we have a 6-3 conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court. And I think one of the things that I'd like to see is for any action challenging an action of the U.S. president, a sitting executive of the U.S. government, we have to have a fast path to the U.S. Supreme Court. Get to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the good news is once we do, that decision will then backstop, I hope, the right answer in the form of U.S. precedent that outlives any one presidency. So where there's a challenge, there's almost always an opportunity. That's the opportunity I see here. I would like to see some of those cases move even faster through the appeals process to the Supreme Court, especially when it involves a judgment of the U.S. president. I think that should be a special case that's accelerated. But if so, I see a great opportunity to lock in, not just on the timescales of election cycles, but on the timescales of history, these common sense principles. Exactly.
Yeah, that means Congress has to step in and limit the way the courts operate, which is well within their rights to do. Vivek, it's great to see you as always. Thank you so much.
So guys, I wanted to show this video of Vivek that I think is really epic. So basically what happened was Vivek Ramaswamy almost got baited by this reporter. And I'm going to be showing clips like this on my Facebook page. So click the link below to see more of this. But take a look at this, guys.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which actually fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
Wow, that is epic. That's really how you deal with the frickin', horrible reporter. In the way that you see Vivek answer these questions, he's not only calm and poised, but he's also tenacious. He has that edge to him, that drive to him, where I think he could make a really good president or maybe vice president one day. People are already talking about J.D. Vance, running in the years ahead. Maybe J.D. Vance and Vivek, Vivek Ramaswamy, I don't know if you guys know this, but he's actually good friends with J.D. Vance. I believe they actually went to law school together, and, a lot of people were talking about Vivek potentially being the VP. This was the moment Vivek heard that J.D. Vance was chosen as the VP. Listen to his response. It's really, really cool.
Well, I was just informed that while we were sitting here, Donald Trump
You kidding me? Right here? Okay.
Right now, while we're...
Is that right? There it is. I see it. Well, I'm glad to see it. I actually messaged JD earlier today offering him, it sounded like the winds were pointing in that direction, and I had offered him my preliminary congratulations, and I think he will be an outstanding vice president, actually. I think he's not going to be a good vice president, he'll be an outstanding vice president. I think President Trump and our country will be lucky to have him. I will certainly do everything in my power to make sure the Trump-Vance ticket is successful. I want to think about this, but I'm inclined to say this could be the single most formidable political ticket in my lifetime. And I want to see them succeed at a scale that not only makes the Republican Party thrive, but makes the country thrive. And, you know, I think we need more people like JD in American politics. So.
That's true humility. That's true camaraderie, brotherhood that you see from Vivek. You do not see that on the left at all. You see people yelling at each other. You got Michelle Obama going on TV saying, oh, for 10 years I couldn't even stand Barack. And when those kids were little. You know, they're so mean to each other. Look at Vivek here. Look at him. He has a bachelor's degree in biology from Harvard. He also served as president of the Harvard Political Union. He earned a Juris Doctorate from Yale, despite only being 38. Vivek has already written 2 books, founded 2 companies. He appeared on the cover of Forbes when only 30 years old. Wow. He has a net worth of nearly $1 billion. He is the American dream. He plays piano. He has a beautiful family. Why do you think the left is trying to take down Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, all of these amazing people who, to a normal anybody, this would be the American dream. This would be the picture-perfect person. But yet, because they like America, because they're trying to dismantle the woke ideology, you know, they try to bring them down. So Vivek actually went on the Will Cain show, and it's actually really cool because they talked a lot about, you know, just the agenda coming up. Let's take a listen.
On several occasions. And this has been the topic of our ongoing conversation. Yeah. National identity. What does it mean then to be an American?
This is the question of our time. And we're a geographically expansive country with people of diverse religious backgrounds and ethnicities. I think it's worth occasionally stepping back and honestly asking the question, is there actually something that binds us together across these diverse attributes? Do we actually believe that exists? I actually do. I think it is an ethos, a creed that was codified in the Declaration of Independence, actualized in the U.S. Constitution. But it's not just the formalities of history. Even in today, the basic idea that no matter who you are or where your parents came from or what your skin color is, that you get ahead in this country with your own hard work and commitment and dedication,
yes,
and that you're free to speak your mind at every step of the way. A nation that recognizes that every one of us has our own unique God-given gift, and that it's different and distinct from every other person in the world, but that we are the nation on God's green earth where you get to realize the maximum of those God-given gifts.
Notice how many times Vivek praises God and says it's God. God is the creator. Because you know, it also says back, and I believe it's like our nation's creed, it says that we are created equal, right? Well, God is the creator. And so if you are an American and if you recognizing our founding principles, God's name is invoked in our nation's creed. And so I really appreciate how Vivek recognizes that. And he is very actually politically correct in this, in recognizing God so much.
Not anybody, not a government, not a bureaucracy standing in your way. That's the set of ideals that makes America itself. And that's different than pretty much every nation in human history.
Wow.
And I think that that's a beautiful thing, and there's some controversial layers to that, if we're able to go beneath the layers of what makes America different than those other countries. But to me, that's what makes America itself, is that we're bound together by those set of human ideals.
Well, I think one of those layers that probably ignited the debate between you and I, to the extent that we had one, is America is our identity exclusively centered around this idea of a creed. You know, Joe Biden used to often say that America is an idea. And for me, there are ideas behind America. But a creed and an idea are abstract and can be redefined at any given time. And that takes us back to what is the identity of America. And I believe there are this is a people, and this is a place, and there is a culture that binds us that has to be fought for, to your point. But that culture is rooted in our history. It's rooted in our story. And that culture has to be more than just hard work and more than just a creed, that we have to understand the culture we're all a part of here. So we're fish swimming in water.
I think I fully, you know, I've talked about this. I fully agree with you that Biden's wrong to say America is just an idea. Of course, America is not just an idea. But America, what makes America distinctive versus other countries around the world is that we're still bound together by that set of ideals. That's what makes America unique from other countries, even though, of course, there's obviously the physical space and the people who comprise our country that make our country who we are as well.
This is a truly conservative ideology, right? This is, you know, making sure that America doesn't drift too far away from our founding principles. All this liberalism, oh, men playing women's sports, oh, this, that, and the other, this DEI bullcrap, this anti-racism stuff. It's like, no, let's actually live in our country. Like, there's a reason why we're in America and we're not in freaking Finland. This is not Sweden. This is not Canada. This is America.
Culture. In a culture, absolutely. But the thing that's different about America versus other countries, you or I could go to France and live there. We would never be a Frenchman. We could go to Germany, we would never be a German. Italy, and we'd never be an Italian. Japan, and we'd never be Japanese. We could go to China or India, and we'd never be Chinese or Indian, actually. But we could both be here, or people from every one of those countries could come here and still be an American.
I love that. And I wanted to actually show this really cool clip of Vivek. He just came out and spoke. This was yesterday. He says he's really trying to fix the school system for public schools, really, right? Because they're government funded. They're public schools. And he says it's not about how much we throw at public schools, how much money we throw at public schools. It's about how well we spend the money we've already sent. And right now the answer usually is poorly. I really appreciate Vivek on this. Let's tune into this, guys.
We're going to stand for the achievement of our students in every domain, from the sports fields to the classroom. Address some of the basics. I'm going to talk about some issues we don't usually talk about, but everyone who's a parent will know what I'm talking about when I say it. Our time is not well utilized in school. Our kids' time, a lot of it is just wasted, dead weight waste of time that we should substitute with civic education, financial literacy education. Teach our kids at a young age what Albert Einstein called the greatest discovery of man, compound interest. Teach kids what that means to save money and actually participate in capitalism through compounding rather than being spiteful towards somebody else's success. Bring back physical education at a young age. PE in kindergarten, the presidential fitness test in middle school, including the pull-ups, by the way. Okay? It's some tough love at times. Get the cell phones out of the classroom. They have no reason to be distracting our students on a daily basis, baiting them into ADD, and then medicating them with Ritalin. We don't need to go through that cycle when we can actually do what's right. And it starts foremost with the teachers. I had a news interview outside, a reporter, and she was friendly about it. I want to give credit to where credit's due. You know, was asking me some tough questions, but respectfully from, it might have been NBC News or one of the local affiliates here. She said, what do you think about the education cuts? What are you going to do? In the budget, we're seeing cuts in public education. You know what I told her is, it's not about how much money we spend, it's about how we spend the money that we're already allocating, all right? That's where we need to pay attention. The schools where we spend the most money per student are performing the worst on a per-student basis. And the more money we've thrown at those schools, the worse they actually continue to perform. So we can't just try yesterday's solution, all right? You continue repeating the same mistake and expect a different result. That's the definition of insanity. We're going to bring true sanity to educational reform by making sure that our dollars are actually spent on classroom instruction instead of overhead bureaucracy. And everywhere else, the majority of our dollars are being spent today are not on classroom instruction. That will change when I'm your next governor. And that also means, and I want not just the people in this room, but a lot of your Democrat and independent friends and neighbors to hear this when I say this as well. that means I believe in not just school choice, which I do. We're going to make sure that we have school choice to the fullest in Ohio so that every parent can send their kids to the best possible school. That much you ought to take for granted with me. But it also means that the best public school teachers deserve to be paid actually a lot more than they are right now. All right, it's a 5-alarm fire in our education system. And that's a 5-alarm fire. I consider our public school teachers to be our first responders. We need to make sure we're attracting the best and the brightest, but it has to be tied to performance. There has to be real meritocracy. And at that point, our kids are actually going to excel in a way that the American education system once allowed them to just a generation ago.
Yeah, I mean, Vivek is just such a legit guy, and he's growing on me every day. He even came out and said that when even the mundane becomes controversial, that's evidence of a deeper illness. The only way out is to start speaking our minds in the open. Let's listen to this, guys.
It's a strange time we live in where if I had written that book, so the book is called Truths, there's 10 chapters that are based on 10 truths I developed during my presidential campaign. God is real. There are 2 genders. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. I mean, so on. If I had tried to write that book 30 years ago or even 20 years ago, people would have laughed me off the stage to say, these things are so obvious. Why are you thinking that we need to pay for a book to tell us what's obviously true? The pushback I got now at the time that I published this, even began to write it a year ago, is that some of these things are too controversial to say in the modern environment. And so when the mundane becomes controversial, that's, I think, a litmus test of a kind of illness in a culture. I think we're overcoming that. November was a big step in getting there. So I'm not just here, and I won't be here just to curse the darkness. I want to lead us back to the light in America. But I do believe that the way we're going to get there is by all of us, at bare minimum, having the chance to speak our minds in the open. Right? Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. If you do that, we get our country back. We'll go upstairs and do it. Thank you, guys. All right?
Wow, how epic is that? So Vivek Ramaswamy, he actually spoke with a veteran who served for 20 years in the Army and now drives veterans to their healthcare appointments, a tradition that goes back to Henry Knox and Nathaniel Green, veterans helping each other long after they serve.
Now I drive veterans to their VA appointments.
You do?
I do.
Thank you for doing that.
And one of the things that I'm concerned about is currently the funding for our veteran service offices. The state of Ohio sends it to all 88 counties. We would really like that to remain the same. They've tried to regionalize it in the past.
We have to stand for our veterans.
Yeah,
100%. How hard is it for veterans to get to the nearest VA?
It's very easy.
Good.
I drive
because
them.
You're helping them.
I drive them. And I'll tell you what, if we don't take them to an appointment, this is Marcy Captor's district. She gets a phone call. So we do everything we can to make sure that they get
That's a real service. Well, thank you for your service to the country in our Army.
Yes, sir.
But also thank you for your service to our veterans. Your story, Jeff, reminded me of 2 other veterans that America had in the aftermath of the American Revolution. So everybody remembers George Washington, and appropriately so, but we often forget his other 2 great generals who served by his side, Henry Knox and Nathaniel Green. Those were his 2 fellow generals who led us to victory in the American Revolution. And they had a very interesting relationship. And Jeff, you remind me of Henry Knox, and I'll tell you why. Nathaniel Green, not a lot of people know this. We talk about taking care of our veterans today, and we will. It's an older problem that we have in our country as well, because he ended up aging as a veteran destitute. It's interesting because he led us to victory in the American Revolution. How did that happen? Turned out we were short on equipment when we were fighting the British, and he took out personal debts in his own name because we didn't have anything that a bank would lend against for the American Revolutionary warriors. He ended up taking out his personal name for the military to be able to buy equipment, and he had so much debt on his shoulders that he ended up being destitute after the Revolution, after the new nation was formed, all the way through the Constitutional Convention. And his fellow veteran, Henry Knox, went out of his way to make sure that he was actually secured plots of land in the southeastern part of our country to repay those debts, and tried to help his fellow veteran stand on his feet. And Jeff, I just want to tell you, in some ways, we're thinking about the history of our country. You remind me of Henry Knox in many ways. And that's who we are at our best, is we're a country that isn't just built on a bunch of green pieces of paper. Yes, the American dream is about pursuing and achieving the maximum of your potential. But we're also a country that recognizes our fellow citizens are truly that. There are brothers and sisters in this country who we will lift up to achieve the maximum of their own potential as well. And Jeff, I just want to tell you, your story beforehand really inspired me, and thank you for giving me that strength tonight. So give Jeff another round of applause.
One thing I really like about Vivek and appreciate about him is, again, he didn't even bring his phone to that event. He left it in the car. He goes out and speaks and meets with people and listens to them. And I think that is the sign of a true leader. We see the same thing with President Trump. If any of you guys listen to President Trump's speeches, you'll know he always talks about, oh yeah, I was talking to this guy, I was talking to that guy. And he actually, he actually asked the landscaper, gardener at Mar-a-Lago, hey, who do you think I should pick for VP? Do you know that he asked him that? And they had a 15-minute conversation about what the gardener at Mar-a-Lago who he thought would be the best VP pick. How freaking epic and humble is that? It's like, I'm not trying to compare Trump to Jesus, but that's like, what would Jesus do? Right? So I wanted to bring on Candace Owens because she actually is friends with Vivek, and she had some words to say about him leaving Doge. Let's listen in.
/Owens. All right, guys. Vivek, he's out. Apparently, the Department of Government Efficiency is so efficient that before it even started, they got rid of one kind of government supposed to be employed, and that was Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, there is more here than meets the eye. And honestly, I could just text him and find out, because I know Vivek. But first, let's speculate before I do that. I will try to get some answers for you. So there was all of these rumors that Vivek and Elon Musk were not getting along, okay? This is a headline from Politico. Everyone wants him out. How Musk helped boot Ramaswamy from Doge, okay? Apparently, Elon Musk made it known that he wanted Ramaswamy out in recent days. And I have to tell you this is a thing. This is a common theme, okay? Apparently, Elon Musk is running the show at Mar-a-Lago. And so it may be fair for people to be suggesting he's the co-president because he's been in Trump's ear telling him, get rid of this person, get rid of this person.
Whoa. Do you notice something, guys? Candace Owens just referenced the liberal ideology of calling Elon co-president, and she's saying that they're not wrong. So this is kind of huge.
And there is, to me, and again, this could be part of his Asperger's, but there's a lack of respect when he just sort of tweets it, and then because it almost feels like it's a mandate to Trump to like get rid of somebody or not hang around someone. Like he randomly tweeted that he didn't like Nigel Farage, or like Nigel Farage didn't have what it took, knowing fully well that Nigel Farage and him have been at Mar-a-Lago like together. And so I think it then makes it so that these relationships are quite awkward for Trump to manage. And I told you guys with the Doge thing, I was excited about Vivek Ramaswamy because I spent time with him. And he's remarkable, he's hardworking, he doesn't stop, and he deeply understands these issues about how the government is run because he had to think through this when he ran for president. And Elon Musk hasn't really done that. He hasn't done anything, actually, but like yell at us and call us racist for not wanting unlimited H-1B1 visas. And so I'm wondering how Elon Musk maneuvered, if this headline is to be believed, from Politico, to get Vivek taken out while he gets to stay. And is it just because he's richer? And maybe that's what it comes down to. Is Trump just like, all right, let me see everyone's 401ks and I'm going with you because you got more money? It's seeming a little bit like that, right? It is.
Is Candace really talking crap on Trump now? Do you think she's really saying, oh, Trump only ranks people based on their net worths? I don't know why. I really like Candace, but her kind of trashing Elon and Trump kind of makes me like question her now a little bit.
It's like I said yesterday, not a good look when Trump has Mark Zuckerberg as one of the people that's sitting with him at the church on the day of the inauguration, like a guy who caused so much pain for Trump supporters and anti-vaxxers.
Again, Trump meeting with Mark Zuckerberg, that's nothing new. Trump meets with his enemies. It's like Trump hosted Mika Brzezinski and Joe Scarborough. He met up with Bill Maher. And Trump still talks to them like he would. Like, he doesn't bow down to them. Trump even said, yeah, I'm not looking forward to meeting with Bill Maher, but I'm still doing it.
Suddenly just buys himself a seat at the table. Not a good look, okay?
And Bill Maher, apparently he brought a list of insults that Trump had said to Bill Maher to this meeting. You know what Trump did? He said, perfect, let me sign it.
So anyways, now, at first they tried to deny it and go, oh, none of this is true. He's not leaving. Now, officially, Vivek has announced that he is leaving and that he is instead going to enter the gubernatorial race in Ohio. And I feel like that's kind of a pretty flowery way of not acknowledging to the public that something happened behind the scenes.
Well, to be fair, though, being a leader of Doge is not a political, it's not like an official, it's not an elected role. Being governor is. So if he, wants to be more involved in politics, it's like if Elon already has Doge covered, maybe Vivek's taking the humble route. He's like, maybe I don't need to be here.
And, Steve Bannon has said that he finds the Elon Musk element to be problematic. Elon Musk being one of the people that's whispering in Donald Trump's ear. And that's largely because he is disrupting these relationships as someone with a self-admitted social, I guess I wouldn't call Asperger's syndrome a social disorder, but I guess you could call it a social syndrome that makes it so that he sometimes misses the forest for the trees. Here is what Steve Bannon had to say about Mr. Elon Musk.
He's got a glass jaw. He can't take, because of the autism or where he's on the spectrum. He's clearly not. He's got the maturity of an 11-year-old. You can tell that. But he, it's obvious. He can't take criticism. One of his weaknesses is that he needs to be loved. He needs the masses to love him. You can tell he's on the stage. He needs that glory. This is to have a digital ghetto and to only have raised up what praises him. That is like the little boy's mentality. If I want to be the superhero, I want to put the cape on and kind of skip around. You see this a lot in Danbury. These what they call chomos, what they call these sex offenders. They've got this. They've had a maturity level that has stopped.
He's comparing Elon to a sex offender,
and they want to. They want to be. They all watch the movies that have the Cape Crusaders on there. It's an absolute indication of immaturity.
I hate to say this, but I agree with Steve Bannon. I think.
Oh, what, Candace? Are you serious? Elon's doing amazing work. Come on, Candace.
That's right. I think that you can very easily become an enemy of Elon Musk if you just disagree with him. I think that is how he's running the show there. And I bet that Vivek came in with ideas, again, totally surmising here. I have no insight. And they clashed because they were both two successful people. And I bet that Vivek thought that he had it right. But Elon Musk was thinking, yeah, I gave more money and I'm in his ear and you ran against him. And so I'm going to make it problematic that you disagree with me, because actually I'm not willing to share the Department of Government Efficiency. I want to be the Department of Government Efficiency. And I don't like Elon Musk in that position. I know it's not favorable. Everyone's an Elon Musk stan. He's so amazing. My gut just tells me that he is very much a part of this sort of AI generation of billionaires. I find it to be in conflict with my views as a Catholic, and I'm not into this sort of robotic future that he desires, where he applauds and claps about the idea of going to Mars. It just conflicts with me spiritually. And again, if you are so rich that you don't think that anybody can question your ideas without you shouting and screaming, like we saw that on display with the H-1B1 visas, people offered a rebuttal. People that have been in MAGA forever. He just joined 10 minutes ago, and he just started calling them racist. Literally just started calling everybody.
Okay, Candace, you're done. I'm sorry. But I think Vivek Ramaswamy is actually doing some really cool things. And, I think the fact that he's switching over to governor race is, I think that's pretty cool.
I was here now with more reaction. Gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Let me go back to the one idea I had. Okay, New York, $30,000, 10 families, $300,000. You hire 2 teachers. That's 1 teacher for 5 students, and you provide them a 6-figure salary with retirement and health care. Would that do a better job in your view? Is that one of the innovative ideas that maybe localities and states can implement?
I think it's the right spirit of thinking, Sean. One of the things we're going to do here in Ohio is I'm going to lead this state to be the first state in the country to adopt merit-based pay for every teacher and principal and administrator. Pay for performance. That's what businesses do. There's no reason we shouldn't be running our public schools in the same way. People will say that means they're going to teach to the test. Tests should not be the sole outcome. It should include peer reviews of other teachers. It should include parental assessments. Most parents do know how well their kids are doing in the classroom. But at the end of the day, teacher quality is the number one factor in a school that affects the performance of a student. The best teachers in the country right now, sadly, are underpaid, to your point, Sean. We need to fix that, but we need to fix that through meritocracy by paying for performance. There isn't a state that does it yet. Thanks to President Trump's bold actions today, we can lead the way.
If you look at blue cities and blue states where you have predominantly minority populations, they have been disproportionately negatively impacted by these bad schools. Democrats claim to care the most about minorities, but they live in the areas where that are less safe, less secure, without law, without order, and without a proper education. And I hope your plan, your innovation, and your merit pay idea also includes options for parents that they pick the best environment for their kids. They pick the schools that are going to teach reading, writing, math, science, history, and computers, and not anything to do with DEI, woke, or transgenderism.
Yeah, we need to make our schools better again.
Parents should determine the education of their students, period, Sean. No doubt about it. School choice is the way forward. Every parent deserves to send their kid to the best possible school for that kid. And that choice may be different for different kids. That's a good thing. The dirty little secret in American education is this. The schools in the inner cities that often spend the most money per student are delivering the poorest outcomes per student.
Why? Why is that? It doesn't make any sense. We need to fix that ASAP. I'm actually really glad that Laura Trump sat down with Vivek Ramaswamy. I wanted to play some of this because I think it's really, really cool.
Vivek Ramaswamy's vision for a new industrial revolution in Ohio is one of hope. Leaders across the nation should strive to match his passion for progress. And luckily, he gave us a front row seat to what it could all look like in just a few short years.
You have said, I believe, that you want to take the Rust Belt and make it the Platinum Belt.
That's right.
So how do you go about doing that? What does that mean?
Look, if Silicon Valley led the way in the American economy for the last 10 years, and it has by market capitalization, I'm here to make sure it's the Ohio River Valley for the next 10 years. And it may not be from chasing the sectors of Ohio's past, rubber production and so on, but it will be by chasing the sectors of the future. Semiconductor production to nuclear energy, biotech to Bitcoin to our defense industrial base. The state where we actually embrace AI, not to take jobs, but to make jobs through workforce training and education. And to those who say this is unrealistic, in the last industrial revolution, Ohio was the wealthiest state in the Union. People forget this fact. It was the third most populous state, the wealthiest state at the turn of the last century. Even in the 1950s, and that's not in the scheme of things that long ago. And so we've always been the state of the pioneers, the explorers, the Neil Armstrongs and the John Glenns going to the outer frontiers of outer space. The Wright brothers taking flight. They grew up right in this home state of Ohio. I think that when you grow up in a country and in a state where you see yourself leading the world, the people around you, building the things that nobody else had built, it gives you the self-confidence to say, yeah, I know there's only cars, but I believe that one of those vehicles can actually be engineered to fly. Not only to fly in the blue sky that we see, but to the outer frontiers of outer space. Part of what I want to bring back in this state is not just an economic boom, but giving our kids that self-confidence that they can actually achieve the maximum of their potential that they didn't even know they had.
We're here in the heart of downtown Dublin.
Yeah.
This is all brand new. This is amazing. I don't think a lot of people would expect to see this in Ohio.
Oh, this is awesome. I mean, this is a big market that's popped up in the last couple of years. As you saw, massive buildings. This is new construction. People around the country don't know that we're actually at the beginning stages of a boom in Ohio. I think the job of a good governor is to help to explain that to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
So are there some improvements we need to make? Sure. Got to be a zero income tax state, got to get rid of some of that overregulation. But this isn't California. It's a state that is mostly going in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, look out here. It's like a second industrial revolution
Right.
when you think about the scale and kinds of businesses. I started a business that actually its first office was right here in this
nice,
park
right
as well.
across the
Absolutely,
street.
yes. Drive office and a lot that's popping up here left and right. And part of it is also, as you see, I mean, it's not only a generational thing, but it's cool to attract younger families to places like
Absolutely.
Ohio as well, where our demographics have been challenging over the last 20 years, but now we're seeing a turnaround where you got open air places to eat, places to walk around. A lot of people who live here may not own a car, but they'll walk to where they need to go work, where they hang out in the evening. There's a fun little bar to hang around the corner for young professionals. That's the kind of environment where we want to create in Ohio the booms that you've seen in places like Nashville or Austin 10 or 20 years ago. That's the next 10 years in places like Columbus and Cincinnati and Cleveland, which I think is a lot of fun.
Well, I think my big question is, what is it you would eat here? Because I want a crepe from Holy Crepes.
This place is pretty good, actually. There's a Mexican place straight down, and then there's a falafel kitchen. It's a little bit of something for everybody.
Can have it all here in Ohio.
Exactly.
I love it.
That's actually the heart of it all is actually the slogan on the license plate of our state.
Oh.
And so in some ways, doesn't it kind of feel like the heart of it all?
Feels like the heart of it all?
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
But yeah, guys, really awesome update today from Vivek Ramaswamy. Let me know your thoughts on this one down below. And please check out my new Facebook page. I'll have it linked below. Go throw me a follow down there. I'm really trying to grow this business and expand. And now Facebook is like free speech because Zuckerberg's basically going MAGA now. So I can finally post my politics videos on Facebook. So click the link and share some of the videos to your pages. It helps me so much. God bless. We'll talk to you guys soon.